Okay, so we are going to begin part 3 of this project, which is the assembling of our pieces. So we've cut out our pieces, we painted our pieces, now it's time to put it together. So the first thing that we want to focus is placement and color and balance. So what I did is I went ahead and laid out my 3 to 4 strands, depending on how many pieces you cut out. So if you cut out more, about 15 pieces, you're gonna have about 4 strands. I have 3. So for example, you guys have seen this displayed on my board. This will be 1 strand hanging from our metal hanger, okay? Now, a few things that you want to think about: shape, color, and balance, okay? So when you're laying out your pieces for your strands, think about your colors. Do I want to see 2 blues together, or do I want to have all big pieces together? You want to have like an even balance. So in my case, I think I should probably switch maybe, oh, that one's not painted. For example, maybe let's switch these 2 around and paint this one a different color. So our next step will be our hole punching, okay? Now, here's the trick with the hole punching. When you are using this, you want to make sure that you push the hole punch all the way down, so that you see how it's not just like barely hanging just a little bit like this. If you do this, when you put your strings through it, it will rip. So I'm gonna push it all the way down, and then I'm gonna use both hands to squeeze, because some of it will be hard. And think about, if I have one hole here, how do I want it to hang? Do I want to put the hole here to where it's gonna hang like this, or more on the bottom part to where it's gonna hang like this? So depending on wherever you put the second hole is gonna be very important too, to how your mobile is gonna look at the very end. So I think I'm gonna place my second one here. So once you have done all of your pieces, I already have all my hole punches done, ready to go. Next is going to be your string. Now I have already laid out all the different color strings that you guys need. Please do not cut them right away. You want to keep it very, very, very long, because, some of this is all twisted. Okay, so I have a very long string right now, because what you are going to do is, once you start to tie them together and build it, you will need the extra string to tie it, okay? Now, when you're tying it, be sure to do this 3 times, just 3 simple knots, okay? The first one, go ahead and place down that first knot. So I have my first knot, and then I'm going to do my second knot. String got a little messed up here. And then on my third knot, I'm going to make sure that I make it super duper tight, because it's not going to come apart. You see that? I'm putting a lot of force on this, and it's not going to come undone. So the magic number is 3, okay? So if you have any extra strings like this, just grab yourself a pair of scissors and just cut it out so it looks nice and neatly, okay? Now, let's talk about beads, okay? With your beads, you will have a magic tool, something like this, like a simple bobby pin, and this is going to be used to help push, depending on how big the hole is on the bead, push the string through the hole, okay? So for example, something like this might be a little bit easier, but you might want to put something a little bit smaller, and you see the hole difference is a lot smaller, and it's going to be a lot harder to push that string through. So using a skinny tool like this will help push it through, okay? I will have these on my desk. So grab your bead, grab your string. You can just simply put your bead through, and just use that string to, use that bobby pin to push in your string. Grab it from the other side, and bada bing, bada boom, you have 1 string. Now, this is one way of putting beads, where you can just put them at the bottom and maybe just like layer them on top. So maybe put like 3 or 4 beads on top. Or, which is another reason why the string is very long, is because, let's say I want to place one in the middle. You grab your string and you just put a few knots. Depending on how big the hole is on the bead, you might have to put like 4 or 5 knots on it, okay? So I might need to put 2 more. If y'all can see, this might not be big enough for the size hole that I have. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back. And then do it one more time. Y'all can see. Okay, so now this is probably about double the size. So this might be a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and test it out. I'm gonna go ahead and push it through. Grab it from the other side. And then your strings can also look like this where it hangs just a little bit, okay? So it is up to you. Oh, got a little fuzzy on it. It is up to you if you want to have your beads down at the bottom or hanging about halfway through your strings, okay? And then you just simply grab your next piece, and then you're gonna put it through your hole punch. And how many times are we gonna tie it? 3. Magic number is 3, okay? So then I'm gonna go ahead and tie my first knot, tie my second knot, and then start squeezing, tie my third knot. And really squeeze, okay? So then I'm gonna cut off my extra string that I don't need so it looks nice and clean. And bada bing, bada boom, you have 2 pieces together. Now, my last thing I'm gonna talk about, think about the space between each shape, okay? You do not want anything bigger than your hand, okay? So you see, this is probably about a good distance between both of my shapes, okay? Think about the space in between. Make it smaller if you need to. You do not want to use the whole string to have one shape on one side and one shape on the other, okay? So once I have that done, I will get my next string, attach my third to my second strand, do my third strand, and that is the end of part 3.